Have you ever left a conversation feeling a strange mix of flattered and unsettled? Like you just received a compliment, but something about it felt hollow or even sharp? There's a hidden language in human interaction, a set of verbal cues that signal manipulation and control long before the obvious red flags appear. Most people only recognize the overtly aggressive signs, but it's the subtle, disguised ones that do the most damage over time. 99% of people miss the fifth and final phrase because it sounds like the ultimate compliment, but understanding its hidden agenda is the key to protecting your own peace. Just kidding. Let's start with a phrase that seems so innocent on the surface, something we hear all the time in social situations. It's that moment when someone says something that feels a little too personal, a little too sharp, a comment that lands with a sting. It might be about your new haircut, a project you're proud of, or even one of your core beliefs. You feel that flash of hurt or confusion, and just as you're about to react, they see the look on your face and quickly follow it up with, "Relax, I was just kidding," or the classic, "Wow, can't you take a joke?" This is an incredibly powerful and insidious verbal cue, and from a psychological perspective, it's far from innocent. It's a sophisticated form of what researchers call boundary testing, wrapped in the socially acceptable disguise of humor. The person is essentially throwing a conversational dart to see how you'll react. If you don't react, they learn that your boundaries in that area are weak and they can push further next time. But if you do react, their "just kidding" defense is a masterful escape hatch. It immediately flips the script. Suddenly, the focus is no longer on their inappropriate comment. It's on your inability to handle a joke. You are now the problem. You are too sensitive, too serious, or have no sense of humor. This is a subtle but potent form of gaslighting. It's a tactic designed to make you question your own perception of reality and your own emotional responses. You felt a sting for a reason. Your intuition correctly identified a microaggression, a small jab intended to put you down, but their denial and reframing make you doubt that intuition. Over time, repeated exposure to this pattern can be incredibly damaging. It slowly erodes your self-trust. You start to silence that inner voice that tells you when something is wrong because you've been conditioned to believe it's overreacting. A person who genuinely respects you and accidentally misspeaks will react very differently. Their response will be one of empathy, not defensiveness. They'll say something like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that came out wrong. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." They take ownership of their impact. A person who uses the "just kidding" defense is taking zero ownership. They are explicitly telling you that your feeling is invalid and their intention is all that matters. This is not the foundation of a healthy, respectful relationship. It is a power play. The joke is a delivery mechanism for a criticism they don't have the courage to state directly, and your reaction is their data point. When you hear this phrase, especially as a recurring pattern, recognize it for what it is, a red flag waving under the guise of a laugh. It's a signal that this person is not a safe harbor for your feelings, and that they are more interested in maintaining their ability to take jabs than in protecting your emotional well-being. Walking away isn't an overreaction, it's an act of profound self-respect. Future faking. The second phrase isn't a single phrase, but a category of communication that is incredibly intoxicating and deeply deceptive. It happens when you've just started dating someone, maybe you've only been on a few dates, and they start painting a vivid, beautiful picture of a future with you. They say things like, "We should go to Italy together next summer," or "I can't wait for you to meet my family at Christmas," or even more intensely, "I've never felt this way before. I could really see myself marrying someone like you." This is a powerful manipulation tactic known in psychology as future faking. It's a cornerstone of what's often called love bombing, and it works because it taps directly into our brain's reward system and our fundamental human need for security and belonging. When someone paints a picture of a committed, wonderful future, it triggers a massive release of dopamine in our brains. Dopamine is the neurochemical of anticipation and motivation. We get hooked not on the reality of the person in front of us, but on the potential of the future they are selling. The danger here is that it creates a powerful emotional bond based on a fantasy, not on genuine, earned intimacy. Real relationships are built slowly, over time, through shared experiences, navigating challenges, and seeing each other's true character. Future faking is a shortcut. It's a way for someone to secure your emotional investment and attachment very quickly without having to do the actual work of building a relationship. They are essentially getting all the benefits of your loyalty, trust, and affection by making promises they have no intention of keeping. It's a counterfeit connection. The problem is, once you're hooked on that dopamine high of the promised future, you start to ignore the red flags in the present. You might notice they are inconsistent with their communication, or that their actions don't quite match their beautiful words, but you dismiss it. You cling to the vision of us in Italy or us at Christmas, telling yourself that the present inconsistencies are just minor bumps on the road to that amazing destination. A person who is genuinely and healthily interested in building a future with you will let it unfold organically. Their words will be matched by consistent, reliable actions. They will be focused on getting to know the real you in the here and now, not just selling you a dream. They build trust brick by brick, not by dropping a fully formed castle into your lap on the third date. When you hear these grand, premature promises of a shared future, your internal alarm system should go off. It's not romantic, it's a strategy. The best response is to gently bring the conversation back to the present. You can say something like, "That sounds lovely, but for now, I'm really just enjoying getting to know you." This regrounds the interaction in reality. If they are genuine, they will respect this. If they are a future faker, they may become frustrated or even try to pressure you because you are refusing to get high on the fantasy they are offering. Walking away from a future faker isn't about being cynical. It's about choosing the profound beauty of a real, earned connection over the fleeting, empty high of a well-told lie. Subtle sabotage. This next cue is one of the most insidious because it masquerades as a profound compliment, a sign of a unique and special bond. It's when a man starts to position your relationship as an exclusive island in a sea of people who just don't understand. He'll say things like, "Your family means well, but they don't really get you the way I do," or "Your friends seem a little bit jealous of our connection, don't you think?" On the surface, this feels incredibly validating. He sees the real you. He understands your depths in a way no one else ever has. It creates a powerful us against the world narrative that can feel intensely romantic and bonding. However, from a social psychology standpoint, this is a classic and highly effective isolation tactic. The ultimate goal is to slowly and subtly sever your ties to your existing support system, your friends, your family, your colleagues, making you more and more dependent on him for your sense of self-worth, validation, and social connection. Think about how this works. Our support systems are our anchors. They are the people who have known us for years, who have seen us through different phases of our lives, and who can offer us objective perspective. They are our reality checks. When a new person in your life begins to subtly chip away at your trust in those people, they are essentially trying to remove your anchors. They plant tiny seeds of doubt. Maybe your best friend really is a little jealous. Maybe your mom is a bit too critical. Once those seeds are planted, you might start to pull back from those relationships. You share less, you become more secretive because you don't want to have to defend your new partner or your relationship. Before you know it, the person who is subtly sabotaging your relationships has become your primary confidant, your only source of support. And at that point, they have an immense amount of control. A healthy, confident partner wants to be a part of your world, not the entirety of it. They will respect the people who have loved and supported you. They will want to get to know your friends and build bridges with your family. They will see your strong support system as a sign of your health and well-being, not as a threat to their position. They will want you to have those anchors because they are secure in themselves and in your connection. They don't need to be your everything because they are confident in what they are to you. When you hear this language of subtle sabotage, this narrative that positions him as your sole understander and your loved ones as outsiders, be extremely cautious. It's a slow-moving poison. It's the sound of someone trying to build a cage around you, even if they're calling it a castle. Protecting your connections to the people who have always been there for you is non-negotiable. Walking away from someone who tries to sever those ties is not just about leaving a person, it's about saving your entire world. Hidden criticism. This next category of phrases is particularly damaging to one's self-esteem because it's criticism cleverly disguised as care or helpful advice. It's the unsolicited feedback that's framed as being for your own good. You'll hear things like, you'd be even more beautiful if you lost a little weight, or I'm only telling you this because I care about you, but that dress isn't really flattering on you, or you're so smart, you just need to be a little less loud in social situations. This is a form of negging, or what we can call hidden criticism. It's a way for someone to slowly chip away at your confidence and make you feel like you are a project that needs to be fixed, with them as the benevolent project manager. The delivery is what makes it so confusing. It's often said with a warm tone, a gentle smile, making you feel like you're being ungrateful or defensive if you get upset. Here's the deep psychological mechanism at play. This isn't about helping you, it's about establishing a power dynamic. By constantly pointing out your perceived flaws under the guise of improving you, they are subtly positioning themselves as superior, as the one who knows better. This creates a state of perpetual inadequacy in you. You start to see yourself through their critical lens, internalizing their judgments as your own. You might actually start to believe that you need their guidance to be a better, more acceptable version of yourself. This is an incredibly effective way to create dependency. When your self-worth is low, you are much less likely to trust your own judgment or believe that you deserve better treatment. You become more malleable, more eager to please, in the hopes of finally receiving their full, unqualified approval, an approval that by design will never fully come. Let's be very clear, genuine, loving feedback looks and feels completely different. It is offered with profound respect and is always focused on your growth and happiness, not on fixing a flaw. It's a conversation, not a verdict. A supportive partner might say, "I've noticed you seem stressed about your health goals lately. Is there any way I can support you?" The focus is on your feelings and your goals. The hidden critic, however, focuses on your deficiency. They are not supporting your journey, they are directing it. The moment you hear these backhanded compliments or these helpful critiques that leave you feeling smaller, not better, you need to recognize it as a major red flag. This is not love. This is control. Walking away is an affirmation that you are not a project to be fixed. You are a whole person, worthy of being celebrated exactly as you are, and anyone who tries to convince you otherwise is not worthy of being in your life. Charming challenge. We've arrived at the final phrase, and it is by far the most deceptive. This is the one that 99% of people miss because it feels like the most wonderful, validating compliment you could ever receive. It's when a man looks at you with sincere-seeming admiration and says, "You're not like other women," or its variation, "You're so different from my ex, she was so crazy, dramatic, needy." On the surface, your brain lights up. You feel seen, special, unique. You have been chosen, elevated above the rest. It feels like you've won a competition you didn't even know you were in. But we have to look at the powerful, hidden architecture of this statement. What is it actually saying? To compliment you, it requires a blanket insult of an entire group of people, often your own gender. It subtly communicates a deep-seated negativity or even misogyny, and you are being praised for being the exception to their very low rule. This statement is not actually a compliment. It's a test and a trap. By accepting it, you are unconsciously aligning yourself with their negative view of other women. You are implicitly agreeing that other women are indeed dramatic, crazy, or whatever negative trait they've assigned to them. This creates a subtle wedge between you and other female friendships or sources of solidarity. It encourages a sense of superiority that is ultimately isolating. Furthermore, it places you on an incredibly precarious pedestal. The unspoken agreement is that you must continue to be not like the others in order to maintain their approval and affection. This means you might start to police your own behavior. You might suppress your emotions to avoid being labeled dramatic. You might hesitate to state your needs to avoid being called needy. You start performing a version of yourself that fits their narrow definition of an acceptable woman, and you lose the freedom to be your full, complex human self. A man who genuinely respects women doesn't need to put others down to lift you up. His compliments will be specific to you and your unique qualities. He'll say, "I am so impressed by your incredible sense of humor," or "I really admire the way you handle difficult situations with so much grace." These are compliments that celebrate you without denigrating anyone else. They are born from a place of abundance, not a place of scarcity and comparison. When you hear, "You're not like other women," I want you to see it for what it is. It's a charming challenge. It's a beautifully wrapped box with a very high price tag inside. It's a test of your values. The correct response is to recognize that your worth is not defined by being an exception. Your value is inherent. Walking away from this seemingly perfect compliment is the ultimate act of solidarity, not just with other women, but with the most authentic, unapologetic version of yourself. These phrases are not just words. They are symptoms of a deeper mindset rooted in control and disrespect. Recognizing them is not about becoming cynical or distrustful. It is about becoming discerning. It is about learning to trust that quiet, initial feeling in your gut that tells you when something is off, even when you can't immediately explain why. Your intuition is your oldest, wisest intelligence. Honoring it is the highest form of self-care. Your peace is not a negotiation. It is your birthright. Walk toward what honors it and walk away from anything that asks you to betray it. This was hard to hear, but so necessary. Which of these phrases have you heard before, and how did it make you feel at the time?